Welcome to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. Join us on this journey into the unknown, down a dark path overgrown. Find spells and rituals, folklore and legends. Come, set your candles alight to clear your mind and unwind. Delve into the shadows to uncover a dark path.
Welcome to the very first episode of A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. I am Kristen Jackson. I would like to categorize myself as an eclectic witch. I take a little bit from different places, bring them into, my personal practice, and really just personalize what I like to do. I enjoy crystals, astrology, tarot, and herbs.
I'm Allyson Hemma-Romane, owner of Jupiter's Omens and a word witch. I'm very proud of that.
And today we are joined by Heidi Stock, and I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself.
I am Heidi Stock, the owner of Witchcraft. I am a feral Scorpio and professional diviner and energy healer. At Witchcraft, we carry tools for living with intention, which includes things like altar items, divination tools. I also teach classes, offer parties, but I'll tell you more about it later.
We felt a really great place to start the podcast would be the same place any good philosophical discourse begins, which is by defining terms. Can't really talk about it unless we all know what the terms are.
So let's begin today's episode. What is witchcraft?
I thought for my segment, it would be really interesting because I'm a nerd to talk about the etymology of witch, magic, and witchcraft. So witch is inherited from Germanic, so Middle Low German wicker, meaning soothsayer or a person supposed to be able to foresee the future. It's also from Old English witche, W-I-C-C-E, and that's the feminine form of witch. We also get Old English witch-a, which is masculine. Fun fact, that's where the modern religion Wicca gets its name, which is a mispronunciation. And that's all before the 700s. So this is like eons ago, right?
Back in the day.
Yeah. So, and Germanic was like Germanic tribes that then traveled, westward to infuse into English. So by 792, we start seeing witch in writing. And the definition then was someone who practices witchcraft or magic in a malevolent or harmful nature. We had different names for practitioners we liked societally, like cunning folk, wise folk, things like that, midwives also. And then by 1475 in writing, we've got this transition to a derogatory term as contempt for a woman, especially one who's old and unattractive.
That's the worst.
The worst kind of woman. This is also where the slur hag shows up on the scene, right? To talk about crusty old women.
Personal aspirations.
Right. Personal aspirations. And from there, the definition kind of stays the same. It changes a little bit to include things like sacrifices, worshiping Satan or evil spirits, heathens, infidels. Fun synonyms for witch start popping up on the scene when we start burning people and hanging them for being witches. And then I'm going to stop at definitions in the 1700s because this is a really interesting dichotomy that I've discovered, which is in 1731, the show notes are going to include my references, but we used a witch as a practitioner of magic, specifically in Southern Africa, viewed as analogous to a witch in European tradition. So by that time, it's someone who worships the devil and does harmful things and sacrifices people and stuff. And then we also used witch at the same time in literature to describe a girl or a young woman who's bewitchingly or captivatingly attractive or charming.
Like each side of the coin, the hag and the beautiful.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to pin it down. From there, Magic is a word that's borrowed etymologically from French during the Middle English period, which is like 1150 to 1500. So when we first really started condemning people for being a witch, we needed a word to describe what they're doing or differentiate people we like from witches.
Definitions are really important.
So magic first used 1387 in the writing of Geoffrey Chaucer. The art of influencing or predicting events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces.
I love that.
Forces. It displaced Old English witchcraft and Irish druid, the root word for druid. We kind of would tag the word natural with magic to make sure that everyone knew that magic was different from witchcraft and that it's considered legitimate, not sinful, and involved much that would be explained scientifically as manipulation of natural forces. The etymology of witchcraft. So we first started seeing it in Old English in pre-1150, talking about the malevolent exercise of supposed supernatural powers, especially by women, attributed to a connection with the devil or evil spirits. So this is like legends, folklore, things like that. Don't go into the woods. The witch is going to do witchcraft on you.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, Baba Yaga. And then craft at the end of that, which a craft is to craft or skill. Roughly equivalent words across other languages have very different connotations than in relationship to one another. So defining witchcraft across cultures is difficult. Heidi, what is a witch to you?
Well, so I've been putting some thought into this, and for me, I feel like a witch is someone who practices witchcraft to focus and their intention, right? Or to develop their intentions into manifestation, right?
Yeah.
But for me, the operative things are you have to want to be a witch to be a witch, I feel like, in my opinion. I feel like I don't like to give people monikers they're not comfortable with. And then two, you have to practice craft in some way. But I would argue most of us do every day without realizing it. So if you want to be a witch, you could be a witch real easy.
How about you, Kristen?
I mean, a lot of the same. I feel that being a witch is owning your power and continuing your education, constantly learning, and being able to put those practices into your everyday life or friends and family, helping out yourself, helping out your neighbor, helping out your community. Yeah, being a witch is being able to use what's available to you, even if it's hidden from sight, to benefit and better your life.
For me, a witch is someone who does magic, right? And uses magic to manipulate reality, to make something that they want, right?
Yeah.
I'm willing to describe people who wouldn't necessarily call themselves witches as witches. Not to their faces, but right? Like
I tend to say things like that person's a little witchy.
And they don't know it yet, but
yeah.
They're a witch.
You know me. I just like to make people comfortable. And so sometimes you'll meet somebody who's definitely got the witchy vibe. And then you're like, you would be a witch.
Do you call yourself a witch?
Hotly debated topic. I depends on who I'm talking to. I feel like I practice witchcraft. The term witch didn't resonate with me for a while because there is that negative connotation in some of the definitions where you need to be doing something negative or there's some malign thing associated with it. And for me, I had identified with the word witch way more until I realized that, and then I kind of got hung up on that part of it. And then actually, after talking to a couple of my friends recently, I was inspired to kind of reevaluate that because there's a lot to it. But yes, so my parents, I don't really call myself a witch. My friends, I do, and my customers, it depends on if it seems like they would appreciate that or be scared of me.
Right.
So
that's a fine line, like as a business owner to navigate.
I'm also highly intuitive. I don't know if you know that. Right. Makes it a little easier. And it is also not, just to be clear, it's not about it doesn't feel inauthentic to me because the word witch is not something I have used to empower myself. It's not something people have used to disenfranchise me. So I don't have a lot of emotional connection to the word. So for me, giving up that title or not using that moniker to make someone else more comfortable, and especially in my line of work, totally fine.
How about you, Kristen? Do you call yourself a witch?
I definitely call myself a witch. I used to not when I was younger. It was very difficult to be open about that when you are seen as a negative entity or a negative person or wanting to work something negative, when really all I ever wanted to do was make myself feel better in my certain situations. So growing up, I definitely have come to acknowledge and love the word witch a lot more. I definitely feel that it is, if you want to say a witch is working with negative or evil entities, yes, because I'm trying to banish those. I'm trying to get those away from me. So I do.
Sure, I like working with.
Yes. So yeah, I really like the word witch, and I also do. I feel that not everybody is going to be receptive to it, so I don't, go out and say, "Hi, I'm Kristen, I'm a witch," like the very first thing I meet them. But at the same time, it does kind of open up a little bit for people to be like, "What does that mean? What do you mean? Can you tell me more about that?" And those are the people that I really want it to reach. Hopefully start a conversation.
My trajectory has been really similar to Heidi's, in which I called myself a witch pretty regularly until I learned that the negative connotations with it. I still do. Like, that's my favorite word for myself is to use witch. I think it's the most like forward and honest word. But I also use like charmer, or because like that was more popular in Welsh, and that's like it's part of my lineage, so I kind of like branch that way. So I'll refer to myself as a charmer as well. But in general conversation and for work, I usually refer to myself as a witch because it sets the tone for the conversation, right?
People know what they're getting into a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you say I'm a witch and I have this spell jar for you,
right,
than if you say I'm an empath and I have this manifestation for you. Some people may not understand it as well.
Absolutely. I think that's totally true. The language thing is so powerful. We had, once upon a time discussed that the different ways of doing things are powerful because everybody needs to hear it different, and so it's like, while a spell jar and manifestation kit are the exact same thing, like it's setting your intention, you're lighting candles, you're using metaphysical herbs, you're literally doing magic. Some people can't ever cross that line. That's a hard line for some people where they're like, no, I don't do magic, I don't. But for me, I don't. Those people sometimes are people who need the healing the most. Right. And so for me, my mission is really about reaching people, as many people as possible, who will let me help them, let me show them the tools to help themselves.
Right.
And so while I totally agree, people who are in the know will hear manifestation kit and go, "What are you talking about?"
It's a spell.
People who are not will go, "Oh, manifestation kit, eh?"
Oh, right.
So,
I mean, I know part of the reason that you use the verbiage you do, Heidi, is because you've brushed elbows with some people, not like intentionally, right? But you've had people critique in an unpleasant way. How can I say? Is that a nice way to say it?
So I would say it hasn't been my major experience, which is fine, but I definitely have a very open energy, so I tend to draw people to me who aren't afraid to tell me that they think something weird about me. So I'm like, oh, interesting. I don't know what it is about my energy that does that, but I'll have people. I very often at fairs, the person who's there trying to like convert people to Christianity, or the person who's there like because they're genuinely fearful for someone's soul, tend to seek me out and talk to me about it. And I want to help those people. I want to bring them comfort. I want to reassure them that, you don't have to worry about these people. Like, you don't have to worry about even the people who are there converting. Like, it's not how I live, but they're trying to do something out of love. Their actions are just weird.
Right.
And so
well, and it's so funny because like we'll see that as weird and they'll see us as weird, and no matter what, it's always weird.
Yeah, I've been to shows where I've had people come up and say, "Oh, you're a witch. I don't deal with witches," or things like that.
Yeah,
but I'd rather use the term witch, which I identify with, and be honest about who I am, that I can find my community, rather than trying to fit into one that I don't belong in.
No, absolutely. And I think that's totally true. What I mean about like the word for you, if that word is significant to you, I think you need to claim it, right? It's part of being authentic. And that's, I think, why for me it was so easy to not necessarily take ownership in it, because while that is part of what I do, it's also not all I do. Like, I'm much more comfortable telling people, oh, I'm a diviner, or I'm an energy healer. The one we don't love, I don't love, because it makes me feel like people are like, they'll be like, well, I'm claircognizant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And then they're like,
what? You do what?
I'm like, do you like tarot? Yeah, I do tarot.
Yeah. I mean, and that is kind of like how you can use the word, I'm a witch. It encompasses so much. It is the diviner. It is the healer. It is, all of these different words where you're maybe once you feel a little bit more comfortable as, a person with another person, you can be like, oh yeah, well, actually, I really focus on tarot and, divination or whatever it is,
right. Whereas if you say I'm a witch, that gives like a blanket statement and it
Yeah.
sets the stage for conversation.
Exactly. And that's all I want.
Speaking of conversation, Kristen, what is witchcraft to you?
Witchcraft to me is really owning your own power, knowing yourself, knowing your surroundings. And I'm not just saying like the environment you're in, but like the feeling of how things are. Being able to practice witchcraft is taking a hold of those things that maybe you might not have full control of and giving it a little bit of a push and giving it a little bit of an extra, like, I want my life, my mindset to go this way.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of take charge of that. It's definitely curiosity, constantly wanting to learn, find out new things. Being in touch with nature is a big thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our Earth, unfortunately, doesn't seem like it's going to always be here. But if we continue to protect it and continue to work through, more naturally, it vibes more with us as human beings. And I personally just always feel so much better when I'm taking care of myself in that way.
So that like, I don't remember. It's been a while since we talked about it. Literally like minutes, right? But like Middle English, Old English, I don't remember what it was, but adding that like natural back into the magic, right?
Yeah.
And having natural magic be witchcraft, right?
Yes,
Focus
absolutely.
on that. Yeah.
And that's with the whole like me loving to be called a witch. I want to take that power back. I want to take that back and make it into what it actually is for me, not what everybody else says it is or what society says it is or what some dude in 700 BC said it is.
Right. Baba Yaga.
Yeah, taking a lot of that back and taking it and turning it into more of that natural magic, for sure.
How about you, Heidi? What is witchcraft to you?
I feel like that was hit a lot of key points for me too. I feel like craft is kind of all around us, and so we do craft sometimes unintentionally even. I feel like so I would argue that you can practice craft without realizing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people visualizing before the big game, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But for me, when it's witchcraft is when you are doing it with intention.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of the separating line, right? You could be practicing witchcraft and not really realize it, and I feel like that's kind of something different.
Like you're expecting to get an outcome.
Or just more like people who don't know they're doing it, they probably have success, but when you realize you're doing it, you're going to have more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I'm visualizing before the game, this is awesome, this is going to help me on a mundane level. Okay, I'm visualizing towards the game, I've used these elemental things to align my actions, I've done this X, Y, I think it'll elevate your process when you're aware. And so awareness, I guess, is for witchcraft for me. When you're practicing craft, you're aware of it.
I like that you touched on those words because that's my definition of witchcraft is to focus your intention to manifest things that you want to like boost your awareness, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. It just reminds me of like kids when you'd pick up the I forget what they're called, the little fluff ball like dandelion things and you blow on it. My grandma used to always tell us make a wish and blow it out. If you blow all of them out, your wish will come true.
Right.
And you're not just blowing it, but you're taking all of that wish into your breath and blowing it out into that. That's such a small, simple childhood thing.
Witchcraft.
My mom used to tie invisible strings around my fingers to help me remember things.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's such a smart way.
And she'd describe it to me. She'd tell me what it looked like, and then she'd tie it on my hand, and then I'd get to school, and I would remember to turn in my permission slip.
Yes. Hey,
witchcraft.
That's it.
Going off of your answer from the last one, I have another question. Do you call your practice witchcraft, Heidi?
So typically, no. Typically, I shorten it and I just say I do craft. But again,
right.
Just kind of mass market appeal, right? I don't have to have a lot of conversations I'm not trying to have. I can just talk about whatever it is my original focus was. Though it is witchcraft. And I do when it's like amongst friends or people who I don't feel like I'm having to try to convince of a, I don't know, like way of life or thought or just
right.
existence. then I definitely say, oh yeah, I do witchcraft. Which is a tiny bit like chicken. Like, I'll admit, like, it's a tiny bit chicken. To just be like, I don't really feel like dealing with it, so I don't tell people I'm
Right.
But I have a lot of stuff going on.
I mean,
have
it's
a
fair.
business, and I have children and all this crap, and so I'm just like, I don't need to explain to you.
Right, but would you rather take the time to defend your thoughts over a word, or would you rather take the time to help the person?
Yeah, exactly. And,
So-
right. I'm so glad you can see that. That's like, I love this because we don't all have the same opinions, but I feel like we all can see each other's point of view.
Pretty well, yeah.
I think
Mhm.
What happens when you get 3 empaths in a room?
we all end up having to go to bed at 6.
Yeah. I'm gonna be so exhausted after this.
What about you,
Nice
Kristen?
nap.
Do you call your practice witchcraft?
I never honestly have called it witchcraft. Thinking more now on it, I kind of want to start. But I've always just called it like meditation, things like that. Just it was easier for me in my family life to be like, I'm going to go meditate or I'm going to go take a nap. My nap was always a really good out to do my craft work. I love the word craft because when I think of crafts, I'm like, you take nothing and you make it into something. And
Witchcraft.
that is so cool. It's so cool because I honestly think I'm gonna take that one over. Because that's what you're doing is you're taking all of these crazy thoughts and things around you and you're going, I want this outcome. So crafting it into something is just, that's an amazing way to think of it. But I always just kind of ended up just really blanket meditation, because it still says I'm focusing on something even though the rest of it isn't really in there for the others.
But like meditation is fair because in meditation you're either clearing your mind or intensely focusing on one thing, right?
Yes.
And so witchcraft to me is very similar. You're focusing your intention, right? So calling it meditation is fair. Just saying.
I think sometimes too, people can call it self-work.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of it is.
Yeah.
Self-work, right? Because it's like, now obviously some of the energetic stuff you're doing will be like world work or like higher self-work, but like if you're
shadow work,
semi-closet situation, being like, well, I'm just gonna do a little self-work.
Yeah, that's a great way. Well, and that's one thing. I mean, kind of, I know it's going back a little bit, but like, you know, what is witchcraft to you? It is self-work. It's so much work on yourself and bettering yourself and making sure that you're comfortable in your own skin, even if you're not uncomfortable in your own environment, ways to protect yourself energetically.
Being
among
your
other ways.
own good mother.
Yeah.
Lifting yourself
Yeah.
up, protecting yourself.
You know, I totally left that out when I was explaining what it is, but in my business and like interpersonally, I'll describe witchcraft as a tool
Yes.
that helps people stand in their power, find their confidence in the line with their autonomy. Thank you for saying what you did, Heidi, because
I don't know what it was.
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying what you said, because like that really puts a nice like,
Yeah. So on that nature, do I call my practice witchcraft? The answer is no, and it's just because I'm lazy. My husband will be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll say, "Oh, I'm doing magic," or like having customers over for moon circles and stuff. Everybody's coming over to do magic, right? Running a bath. I heard you running a bath. What are you doing? Magic. I'm doing magic. That's just how I like to describe it. I don't know. And it's not because I'm against using the word witchcraft. It's just that it takes too long to say, I guess.
I also like the element of joy it adds
Mhm.
to the process. You discussed before that witchcraft, there's kind of a serious element and tone to it, but it is a lot of fun. It's a very joyful thing. And I feel like magic kind of captures that a bit better.
Gives that little sparkle.
Witchcraft does feel heavy, right? Like, and maybe that's just like the shadow connotations or like the historical context of evil, right? But it feels like it's a thing.
Definitely, and it definitely doesn't feel like a joking around thing.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
you know what I mean?
And I prefer to all
Joking around. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
have to
I just don't
have
take
that.
anything too seriously, so that's just hard.
You have to have the fun with it, and I think that's touching on the light and the dark. You have to have both in order to coexist. I mean, there's yin and yang. There's so many different cultures that have that same thought and aspect. It's just what do you call it? And it's hard to define as we're,
Yeah.
as we're, you know, noticing.
I think I'm going to try to push myself, though, to use the word witchcraft. I don't know. It's especially for like ritual stuff, which always feels like more of a thing anyways to me. Like I like to do bath rituals, so like calling that witchcraft makes a lot of sense to me. But
I think that's actually a really good idea. So anything that is particularly ritual opposed to your daily magical work, right?
yeah, the fun light stuff, like lighting an intention
or
candle.
Even just when you're doing a specific, like, so ritual work and typical work should be segregated and different because your ritual work will elevate if you keep it separate.
Right.
So wearing the ritual garments, giving it a ritual terminology, that's witchcraft, not magic, or also
Right.
magic. But you know what I mean? Like, I think those kinds of things can really elevate it.
Yeah.
That's a different episode. But yeah,
Yeah.
ritual magic dog. You got.
Well, and that's just it. There's so many different ways to incorporate magic into your daily life. Is it a sit down every Sunday and do this thing? Or is it like, I'm just going to light a candle?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a bath. I mean, it can be as simple as I'm going to take a shower and wash the day off of me.
So on that note, magic that we don't know that we're doing all of the time. Those are things that people readily talk about. Do you readily talk about being a witch?
No, I typically do not.
No.
So I am a very intuitive person. So if I feel like I am with someone who I don't know, but I do feel like I can talk to them comfortably about it, like I said earlier, then sure. But otherwise, I tend to swerve. But maybe it's just like deep-rooted passion, like passive-aggressive tendencies.
Yeah.
But for me, like if I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff, I will talk about it with my audience. So like if my audience is down to talk about witchcraft, absolutely. If my audience needs me to talk about self-work and self-help, that's probably how I will.
The terminology, yeah. You're more focused on helping people rather than labeling yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. That part of it isn't important to me, and I don't devalue it for other people.
Yeah.
I'm just not in a position where that's a big deal.
That's interesting because a lot of people really love labels, right?
Everybody loves labels, and I'm kind of the anti-labeler. I actually like it gets my hair raised a little bit when people try to pigeonhole me. It's what it feels like. So it's interesting because I think it's one of those things where maybe we just don't have the word for it.
Yeah. It's not there yet, or at least not defined well enough.
Maybe we should steal one from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
We're good at that.
How about you, Kristen? Do you openly talk about being a witch?
I haven't, again, you know, coming from a very closeted witch aspect.
Experience.
Yes. I have come out of the closet, the witch broom closet, probably within the last maybe 10 years. So it hasn't been very long. And that is just talking about it, talking about my experiences with shadow people, my experiences with tarot deck readings that quote unquote have come true. It's kind of a weird thing. We'll get into that. But like, I never really kind of openly talked about it. It was more my feelings of, or I feel inside, or my gut is telling me. It was never like, you know, the spirits are telling me, or, you know, I had this vision, or it wasn't anything like that. Because then in my life, people would be like, oh, you need to go see a priest.
Right.
Are you mentally stable? Yes, I'm mentally stable. Jeez. But
that's a whole
different episode. But as I'm kind of getting more comfortable with it and realizing that just because I've had negative connotations with it, or negative reactions from people, family members, whatever, there are people that actually live as a witch, which whether you can say, you know, is the good, you know, good witch or bad witch, but they live with that intent, and they live with that constant manifesting of what they want within their lives. And now more today, I am openly talking about it. The rings, I'm not wearing any of my rings right now, but like the rings that I wear, I'll have hematite, I'll have moonstone, opal, different things to kind of help me throughout the day. That alone, just having that gem on you, is a form of witchcraft, because you're manifesting something that you want with that tool.
Yeah.
So more so now, I'm definitely talking more open about it.
Yeah. I'm samesies. I'm at a similar place. Through this conversation, I've been a witch for way less time than you guys. It's like
when you know so much more.
Or maybe you've been a practicing witch for a little.
Look what you did there.
Yeah.
If they exist at all.
Right.
Oh, yes, right. If they're real.
So, I do openly talk about being a witch, and like you guys, it depends on the environment or the audience that I have, right? So, with friends and for work, and some of my family members, I am very open about it, and I call myself a witch. I'm very open about my practices, the things I believe, things like that. And then the rest of my family, not so much. They're pretty religious, and they just don't have time or patience or tolerance for any of that. So I just changed the subject.
Right.
What do you do for work? How's the weather? Never mind that.
Did you see that movie?
Yeah. So with that, we're going to take a brief intermission here, and we'll be right back.
We've been traveling together down a dark path. Now it's time to take a break and listen to some of our sponsors. A Dark Path will return after these messages.
Light the way on your dark path with Wise Wolfcraft's unique selection of tools for living with intention. From manifestation kits to altar items and divination tools, we have everything you need to connect with your inner wisdom. Wise Wolfcraft offers Reiki and other energy healing sessions, divination readings, and a variety of classes on topics like intuitive tarot and personalized spell work. Unleash the power within. Visit Wise Wolfcraft today online at wisewolfcraft.com and on Facebook and Instagram as @WiseWolfcraft. Wise Wolfcraft, tools for living with intention. Needing guidance on your dark path? Explore the mysterious world of Jupiter's Omens, offering handmade rituals, spells, and tools to focus your intention during spell work, vintage altar tools and decor, and intuitive tarot sessions utilizing claircognizance. Visit Jupiter's Omens, where the mystical and macabre meet, at jupitersomens.square.site. That's jupitersomens.square.site.
Welcome back to A Dark Path. This is Kristen. We're going to go ahead and go over who were witches, what is witchcraft today, and what does it take to become a witch. So, who were witches? We went over defining some of those terms, and I kind of wanted to go over what today's more modern definition in like Oxford Languages, dictionary.com, different things like that. To start us off, witchcraft is a noun. It's the practice of magic, especially for evil purposes, the use of spells in modern contexts, religious practice involving magic and affinity with nature, usually within a pagan tradition. So then that brings us to pagan. What is pagan? So pagan is a noun. It's a person holding religious beliefs other than those of the main or recognized religion. It's also an adjective, which is holding or constituting religious beliefs other than those of the main or recognized religions. And within a lot of witchcraft and some pagan, it's really hard to define because pagans aren't always witches, witches aren't always pagans. What is magic? So the more modern definition of magic as a noun is the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. Used as an adjective, it is used in magic or working by magic, having or apparently having supernatural powers. And with magic, you can also use spells. So spells are either a form of magic or a charm of their own. The noun from the dictionary is a form of words used as a magical charm or incantation, a state of enchantment caused by a magical spell, like putting a spell on someone, an ability to control or influence people as though one had magical power over them. So a lot of it is kind of seeming more like from the outward of spirituality, things outside of you being able to harness and use those within your manifestations, spell work, whatever you'd like to call it. So witches definitely in tradition weren't, if you were a quote unquote good witch, you weren't called a witch. You were more often more lovingly called a healer, a spiritual leader, some places shaman, some places Norse. I have more of my family's Norwegian, so I can never say the words because Norwegians use the back of their throat differently than we do in English, but it's the Sidir.
Yeah, they do.
So weird. So the Sidir, and I can never say that word, but they were very, they were very well renowned and used for so many different things to be able to divine the future, help with crops. There's so many different things. Witchcraft definitely today has more of a male, female, and I put witches are male, female, and all between and beyond.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, witch, it's a woman, it's an old hag, or it's a bewitchingly beautiful person. But there's also males. There's, what is it called? Two-spirit in the native?
Sure.
Yeah. There's so many different types of people that can be witches or craft workers.
Also, don't you find wizard an incredibly silly term?
So much.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's also, it goes into a practitioner of witchcraft, especially in adherence with a neo-pagan tradition or religion, such as Wicca. I'm going to kind of open it up. We're going to do some of the discussion and kind of see what is witchcraft? What is magic? So let's go ahead and start with Heidi. What do you think magic is?
That's a really good question. I think magic is energy, in the sense of the noun, I guess, right? But when you're doing magic, then I think the term would be closer to what I said about witchcraft, which is intention and focus. I think magic can involve a lot of different elements, but it's very hard to actually define. Magic could be a feeling. Magic can be, right? I guess energy is the closest thing that's my closest bet.
The energy and focusing that energy.
Yeah. Magic is I feel like magic is the energy that we don't see, that we have access to, right? And that the magic comes from that otherness.
I love it. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Allyson?
So listening to Heidi be like, I don't know. You can't define it easily. Here's my easy definition.
Oh, please. No, I love that about you. Thank you so much.
Manipulation. I think magic is manipulation, whether it's of the senses, of natural things, right? Energy. It seems to me like it's manipulation. And I feel that covers witchcraft, woo-woo magic, and I feel it covers Houdini, right? Sawing people in half, escaping things, right?
May I ask you a question then?
Yes.
Can magic exist without the practitioner?
Yeah. Magic can exist. So
where's the manipulation there?
In and of itself, it is manipulating.
Okay, so it is. So
anytime there's an illusion, right?
As a sentient thing, almost, right?
Kind of, yeah. Okay. I'm an animist, right? And I for some reason want to group magic in that, not that it's a sentient thing with a will and stuff, but I don't think it necessarily requires anything to exist.
It's still there even if you're not manipulating.
I very much agree. But that was just interesting in the terms of the definition of magic is that it's still magic if it's not being manipulated. But you would argue, just to make sure I'm understanding you clearly, that magic is manipulated in its truest form. Yeah. It is just manipulated energy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no manipulator necessarily. Okay.
So it could just be chaos, right? That's how I see the world, though.
Until you put your intentions on it.
Then you're giving it a direction and a focus and showing it where to go.
And I feel like I kind of agree with that because I think energy, that's kind of what I mean, is it's just it's this ambient force that's around until you give it some direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
I like your 2 cents. I do like your 2 cents. 4 cents.
Reason it. Yeah, no, I feel that magic is, gosh, exactly what you guys said. Just being able to grab that force that's out and around you, whether it's physically tangible or if it's just a internal feeling or vibe, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like, that's magic.
Because you can use magic to manipulate thoughts, like
Yeah.
perception and things like we were talking about glamour magic earlier.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily
putting on
a thing.
your foundation, throwing on some eyeliner, that's magic.
Mhm.
You're making yourself feel better about yourself by doing something as simple as painting your face.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
And arguably influencing other people's opinions
also.
too, which is also truly bizarre, truly. However, it is accurate. Not necessarily something I agree with. However, it is something I
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had those days where I'm like, gosh, I just want to feel better about myself. I throw some makeup on and I feel good. I'm not going anywhere.
You've manipulated your own mind.
My own energies, my own thoughts. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the product, but the action or the idea.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I do feel that it's there. It's just waiting to be tapped into.
And that's actually a good segue to the next thing.
Right. So do you think magic is real? What about you, Allyson? Do you think magic is real?
Oh, totally. Like based off of my explanation. Yeah, magic is real. Do I think that magic exists in a wand with a sorcerer and dragons and stuff? No. Unfortunately, I don't have that worldview. I wish I did because that would be a great place to live in.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that, magic is an abstract idea and it is very real. And you can infuse any part of your day with intention that leads to some sort of a manifestation, which is magic. You've manipulated energy or your mind or whatever, right? Yeah, it's totally real. It's a concept.
So then would you consider magic like, I'm going to throw this Himalayan sea salt in?
Yeah.
Because it tastes good.
I don't even need to hear the rest.
Better, you know? Yeah. So something is simple.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're throwing salt? Done.
Yeah. Good salt.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know, like transmitting information is magic, right? I'm turning on my blinker to let people know that I'm merging. That is the most mundane example I could think of, but that's magic. You're communicating with someone without using words what your intention is.
Bam.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
I think magic is real. I don't think it is supernatural. I think it is natural.
Same.
Right?
Samesies.
Okay, and that's the thing that I get hung up a lot of times when we talk about definitions and things. The word supernatural is used a lot in different definitions, or some equivalent of that, implying that it's not that everybody doesn't have access,
right,
or that only a certain group of people can do it, or blah blah blah. Or
that doesn't exist.
Again, that you are magic beyond typical magic if you practice witchcraft, which I don't think that's true. I think that just means that you know your magic and you're using it, not that you're more magical.
You're aware that it's manipulation and how to use it.
Yeah.
Whereas other people who are not aware of it or know how to use it.
Yeah, they're just not leaning into something that they do in fact have.
Yeah. It's a little segue here. We didn't actually define supernatural. So I pulled up from the Oxford Languages an adjective for supernatural: of manifestation or event, attributed to some force beyond scientific understanding or the laws of nature. It's also a noun, manifestation or events considered to be of supernatural origin, such as ghosts. So typically, it sounds to me the definition is more of something unexplained by science or something of the spiritual, ghostly.
So listening to that definition, I can kind of see where people might get the idea of supernatural. My issue, again, is the accessibility thing. I feel like when you say it's supernatural, then people are like, oh, well, I'm not psychic.
No, I disagree wholeheartly.
Right.
I think that ghosts and magic are natural. I don't think they're supernatural.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I mean, but by listening to that, I could see where someone could think it, though, because of the way that was phrased specifically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just think...
Yeah, it's a really difficult because what is natural and what is supernatural? Because, the glaciers melting and then the becoming like the stream and the water and like coming through is like, that could be magic until you realize that's what happens every year because
that's
of the
etymology,
seasons.
baby.
Yeah.
Like the definition of words changes as our understanding of things changes.
So, okay. So then if that's the case, then maybe things are supernatural right now because we can't explain them scientifically.
Right.
However, I feel like that's due to our human dumb brains, not because of the lack of the ability for it to be explained. Does that make sense?
Not being able to see all the realms cats can see.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Well, no, it's just like, I mean, get it. Okay, to quote the most wonderful movie for quoting, which you would never suspect, Men in Black. Okay?
Love it.
Right? Well, that whole speech he gives about 500 years ago, people knew the world was flat. 400 years ago, that thing. And then imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
Another.
Right? And it's the same idea. Like right now, sure, this stuff seems a little woohoo. We may not have the science to prove it. Give it 100 years.
Yeah.
People will look back and go, isn't it bizarre that people used to not know X, Y, and Z? And it is that people thought witches were magic. And
well, that's gravity. I mean, people were like, what are you talking about? This
Yes.
magical, mysterious force that holds us on the earth?
There is enough anecdotal evidence behind craft that it will be measurable at some point.
Right.
That's my thing.
Well, and that's one of my favorite I don't know, quotes or whatever, is that it's all magic until it's proven to be science or something of that nature. Like,
Yeah.
it's all magic until it's proven.
Yeah.
It's all woo woo. It's all just out there until people go, oh yeah, we can quantify it.
And I wouldn't argue. I think you kind of hit on this earlier, but does that really make it any less magical knowing that we can quantify it? Okay,
No.
so we have a scientific explanation for something. What? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what does that even mean? You know, when you really look at things on their face, does because we understand how cells divide, does that make it any less miraculous?
It is
It
magic.
was still doing it before we defined
No,
it.
I know. And it's like, just because we found a proper label for it, it's kind of too bad that knowing shuts off the magic for people. It should be the opposite. It should be knowing turns the like
it heightens it. Like, what else don't we know? Like, what else can we find out? Like,
yeah. And why is that magic of knowing not just as powerful for people? You know, why does it then have to become science? Which I love science. I'm all about science, but I'm also like, let's make it magical. Like, it doesn't have to be two sides of a coin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's like talking about the same thing but just in different words. And I feel like magic is just everywhere. I mean, it's as simple as, you know, talking about the kids blowing their wish into the little dandelion fluff that floats around. You know, you could have magic is everywhere. Segue into the next question: what led you to your practice? For me specifically, it was a lot of trauma. Young. I needed a way to take back my own personal strength and remember that I had it, and find ways to live peacefully in such a chaotic environment. For me, that was my go-to because I was really into I was raised Christian. My family wanted me to be able to pick any type of Christianity that I wanted, but it had to be Christian.
Yeah.
So
any type of Christianity you like.
That you want. So when I was in middle school, started going into the Baptist church. I was there like 4 days a week. Like, I was enjoying the experience. I was enjoying learning. I was enjoying all of this. But every time my questions weren't answered, every time I just wanted an adult to say, I don't know, let's figure it out. Or, you know, I can't find that answer, but maybe someday, whatever, more than just look in the Bible.
Yeah.
So I started actually branching out and looking into different religions, and Wicca was one of them. For me personally, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't like that very strict, you have to do this in this way or order. I like to kind of put my little spin on it and make it more personal. I feel like I get better outcomes.
Oh yeah, like
totally
for sure.
agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Because then I don't know, it just narrows it down to what you're really trying to put out there instead of just a general.
And it's your energy rather than somebody else's.
Yeah. So I personally started that way with candle magic. Candle magic was a great way because anytime I could light a candle, nobody questioned it.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I got a candle burning. I really wanted vanilla smell or, you know, lavender or whatever, like cool. And no one would know. So that's kind of how I got into it, was trying to, you know, manage myself, manage my chaotic life, and be able to also just feel comfortable in my own skin. On that note, so Heidi, what led you to practice?
Well, I don't know. I think my story is kind of a familiar one for people. I was kind of, so in hindsight, I was kind of always doing this stuff. Didn't really realize I was doing it until much later in life. And then was kind of just doing my thing, dabbling in tarot, dabbling in craft. and had a big, crazy tragedy bomb drop on our lives, you know, and just trying to find a way through it and out of it, you know. It was really when this stuff really started to take a different level in my life. And it effectively like saved me from the worst period of my life and brought me, it really, really was. And it brought me to a much, much better place. And that was basically how the business was born, because I was, as soon as like, I am not done recovering from that tragedy, but as soon as I could function, I was like, okay, I have to share this, because there are people who need to know today because they don't get tomorrow, you know, like, and so it was definitely, but I feel like a lot of people in this community that speaks to, it's trauma brings you here because it's the way out, you know, and so it's like, it helps you process, it helps you reclaim, and I mean, talking about pouring out energy one way and not knowing how to get any of it back, you know. So happily, nice little story, but that's why
mine is so similar though. Like mine is, it's, you know, again, one that everybody can probably relate to, where it was the worst period of my life and I needed a way to boost my self-confidence and be more mindful of my body and reclaim autonomy and get in touch with my intuition. I was being asked things like, what the F do you want? Right? I couldn't answer that question. And part of answering that question is honing in on your intuition, which is a huge subject in witchcraft, which will be a later podcast episode.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be its own episode.
Yeah, it's a very similar story. I needed help in recovery. I needed help reconnecting with myself, and this was the best tool that I could find. I tried a ton of stuff.
Same.
Zen Buddhism was like a real close second.
Yeah.
For me.
And I reach in for me.
That's so crazy, because like it's really weird how just a name for something could make a good or a bad connotation, because like for the longest time meditation was woo-woo, you know, like in my family it was
hippie
like
woo thing to do.
Yeah, like, oh, you're meditating? What are you gonna go join a commune? Like, you know,
I'm gonna do some edibles, go down by the river and meditate in my van.
And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't fall in the water. We don't want any drowning.
No, it's so funny to me, because I didn't realize that there were some people who were like, don't meditate.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
oh, interesting.
No, yeah, I had no idea. And then my actually super enlightened, highly educated aunt, who says to me one day, because she does hella yoga, and she's like, yeah, I love yoga. And she's like, that was one they were never going to take away from me. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
What do you mean? Like, why would you not be able to do yoga?
Right.
And
witchcraft.
Never mind. Whole different episode. It's just, it really does. It's like, it's witchcraft. Part of witchcraft for me is freedom too, right, guys?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
That's a huge priority for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's freedom to think.
It's part of the thing that led me there.
Yeah. You can take in all of the information and make your own thought and make your own story and make your own,
discover your truth and say it out loud. Yes. Even if it's just to a candle.
And it might be only your truth for that month. It might be only your truth for 6 years. Yeah. Things change, just like the river flows, man. Pocahontas.
That was the most out there thing that was said this whole episode. Things change just like the river flows.
I love it.
Yes, all the colors of the wind, paint with them. What's your witchy gateway drug? What really got you started? I mean, for me,
I wrote that. I want everyone to know I wrote it.
That was Allyson. She wrote that, just in case you didn't know. I kind of touched on candles. Candles were a real quick, easy way for me to go ahead and get into
pyromania.
I used to sit there, and I didn't know this was a thing actually until a few years ago, but you can like play with the candle and like without touching it, and like just watch the candle flame flicker, and you can lengthen it and shorten it. Yeah.
Fire screen.
It's a very hard to say thing.
Apparently.
Just like the mouse in Thumbelina. I just like saw her face.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
The mouse from anyways.
Yeah, but so I never knew that was a thing until I was like, oh, I've been doing this for years, and I just thought that I was just watching the flame, that I wasn't necessarily
impacting it.
Yeah, I was just watching it. And so anyways, that was kind of my get into it. As I got older, herbs were really good things. You can cook with them, you know, put them under your pillow, have a nice little lavender scent.
Yeah,
But
and again, not a lot of feedback if you add herbs to your food. Right?
Right.
People are going to be like, why are you seasoning your food?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, my family was very salt and pepper, and that's it.
Oh,
so it was very weird for them. They'd be like, what's this oregano? And I'm like, well, it tastes good in your spaghetti, so just throw it in there. So, yeah, how about you guys? What about you, Heidi?
It's really interesting because I feel like I don't know the right answer. Like, for like,
I mean, because it sounds like you said, you've been incorporating it a lot in different ways.
You want me to go first so you can think about it?
Yeah.
No, I will say fast what I think, which is that the first thing I consciously picked up was tarot. Mm-hmm. Tarot was the thing that I was like, oh, I'm going to read tarot and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. But I definitely like was well before that, like doing this weird thing where I was like influencing people and not controlled,
not like a malicious influence.
No, sometimes, but not on purpose. It was not. It was just very much happening organically, and I was really young, and I didn't really know how to control this like magnetism thing.
Your charisma.
Yeah, and again, that sounds so conceited and weird, but when you start to own what you've got going, it's not. I'm not trying to be weird. It's just that if I really turn it on at people, it's very hard for people to say no to me. Mm-hmm. And, that can be really, speaking of manipulation, that can be very manipulative. And when you're young, you're basically a sociopath, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't really. Yeah. That was probably the thing that I was really doing first. But I think tarot was the first thing that I really like loved, and I didn't realize Reiki was part of craft. Mm-hmm. And Reiki I started before tarot. So
cool.
Yeah. So
like without knowing that you were actually doing Reiki, or was that more of a
so like my mom had trained we had been doing Reiki, not realizing it. My mom finally figured out what that was and then like read up on it and got herself. So technically my mom has never been like certified by someone else, but she has the knowledge and ability of a master. So I'm actually weird. I guess I could give her a certification because just another Reiki master has to certify you, right? But yeah. So that was a long short answer. Tarot was my first official gateway.
How about you, Allyson?
Smoky quartz.
Smoky quartz? Like specifically just smoky
smoky quartz. Yeah, that was like, I was a very sad person, and I was in like intensive outpatient therapy 3 times a week, and one of them was like, just kind of reach out to things that are interesting to you, right? And I was like, well, rocks are pretty.
I like rocks.
I'm going to go to the crystal shop downtown. And this is like downtown, rural, very conservative America. So I was honestly very surprised that
there was a metaphysical shop in a
just rocks. Just rocks. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't call it a metaphysical. It was just rocks.
It's a crystal. It's like a rock farm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I had my little basket and I walked around and smoky quartz. And then I bought as much as I could.
Yeah.
From like anywhere that I could find good smoky quartz. I still and I absolutely just fell in love. It's my favorite crystal. So smoky quartz.
That's super
then I bought
cool.
some rose quartz. Like I expanded after that. Yeah. And then once I started doing I started following people on social media that were into the same kind of things as me, and then that's how I kind of learned like,
there's more.
I'm into witchcraft now. Yeah. From forget Zen Buddhism, I'm gonna be a witch. Yeah, that's me.
So awesome. Although I felt like chanting was super effective. I don't know. Into chanting, but
yeah, smoky quartz was my gateway drug, and then everything just kind of quickly snowballed from there.
Once you found smoky quartz, it was like
altering my food, meditating, baths. Honestly were the second thing. Like,
I feel like that's one of those things though that people do for themselves accidentally all the time.
It's grounding. Yeah.
It's so grounding, and it's so like it's a good way to like release. It's a good, and people do that. They're like, and they know it. They're like,
and I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna have.
So for me, I started there because I had negative shower experiences, like going in the shower, like sitting on the ground, like sobbing. That's how sad I was, right? So I wanted to. We were on this program where I was taking bad memories or sad things and trying to flip the coin, right?
Yes.
And so that felt like a very natural place for me to start was baths with flowers and mint and things like that to like boost my emotion. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like beauty way, like making it so that your
very pretty.
Experiences. Yeah.
I'm a very Venus heavy person. Yeah. So I needed it to be beautiful.
I mean, I can't say much. I'm also a Taurus.
my yes.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
Touch on that. That's gonna be super fun. I'm an April Taurus. She's a May Taurus.
Just to blow your mind real quick though, we're reversed.
Yeah.
You Do you know that? Like
my brother's a Scorpio, so we're the opposite
Oh, yeah.
of the scale. Yeah.
But we're like all three, right? Aren't we?
Are you also your
Scorpio,
moon
Taurus, Aquarius?
Taurus sun,
Taurus sun.
Cancer moon.
Cancer. Okay,
Oh,
some of yours. It's
Scorpio
it's a water.
rising.
Oh no, and I guess Aquarius is air. I really thought we were all three like.
So when I'm sad, I like so gravitate towards water. But we can talk about astrology.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a whole huge other thing.
thing.
So to kind of end us here, is witchcraft a religion? I'm going to go ahead and start with Allyson on this one. Do you think that witchcraft is a religion?
No, I do not. So Wicca is a religion, and that's fine. I am a religious, I like to say. I do not view witchcraft as my religion. I see it as a tool, like a lifestyle, right?
Mhm.
Like instead of having a designer lifestyle, I have a witch lifestyle, right? Yeah. That's my short answer. No, witchcraft is not a religion or my religion.
What about you, Heidi?
Same.
Ditto.
Samesies.
Yeah. I think that one of the things I'm very not interested in religion. I'm not interested
Averse.
Adverse. That's a good word.
In being told what to do.
Mhm.
I am not interested in following other people's rules
Or thoughts, right?
Yeah, I like my own thoughts
very much.
Mhm.
So for me, witchcraft is explicitly not a religion. That's the appeal.
Yeah.
For me, right? Like,
I've always been told this is what a girl does. This is what you need to do. This is how you should act. And I never fit into that. And being able to just, be in a practice that is so open and so individual, it can be spiritual. It can be emotional, it can be healing, it can be tough, but it can be so rewarding. But I don't think it's a religion. Not at all. There are religious aspects.
The touching on how it's spiritual but not religious, I think, is important too.
Yeah, religion isn't spirituality, and spirituality is not religion.
Exactly. But definitions are important.
Right.
So clarifying that was great, I think.
Well, that's the thing too, is you've got, certain religions that are like you could do just Christian religions where it's just God, or you even have your Greek pantheon. There's different gods for different aspects.
Yeah.
My personal belief is that they're all the same thing, they're just different parts. So my very loving aspect, I might feel more connected to a Venus god or goddess, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a person. To me, that is just that aspect that you're trying to connect with.
I like that. That's very interesting. I feel like I have a similar belief in the sense that we're like how you're talking about how all the different deities are kind of one thing, but just different facets.
Yeah.
I would take that even a step further and just say that we're all one energetically, and we're all different facets of one thing. So that's another thing that really keeps me away from the religious aspect. Is I don't like worship. I think that energetic exchange is good, recognition even to a lesser extent, but I'm not into worshiping stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes sense. I think we're equals. I think we all have different things to give.
Yeah, some things you're going to be better at than I am, vice versa.
Now we're talking about entities. They have all this power in the ethereal realm, right? Like not here.
Yeah.
And they can impact here, but they impact here through us, right? So to me, again, that's a partnership.
Yeah.
That's an equal working relationship.
Well, and it's just as much a give and take as it is a husband and wife, best friends.
Exactly. And you don't worship your husband.
No, God, no. I love him to death, but I couldn't do that.
I sometimes wish people could see, because I definitely talk very seriously to my microphone when I want things to resonate.
We can film it in the future, yeah.
Right. We'll have to get the video so you can see that.
This room feels like a good place.
To kind of round us out here, we kind of touched on is witchcraft a religion? Is it your religion? I think we kind of all agreed that it's not really a religion in our personal lives, but it can be for others. That's how I took it.
I think it's interesting. The three of us are all like, I'm tired of religion. When we arrived at witchcraft, we were all tired of religion and being told what to do and what to think.
And especially
I did not know that about all three of us.
It's kind of fun to like, I mean, with my background, it's always just so I'm really getting more in touch with my divine feminine lately, more of the dark side of femininity.
Oh.
Honestly, I've been trying to look into a lot of that, but that's more coming down with shadow work and things like that too. Definitely staying away from the religious aspect in my own personal belief, because I just felt very held down, especially my brother and I get into a lot of arguments over this. I always bring up, he's never been told you can't do that because you're a woman. You can't do that because you're a girl. I have. And it's been something I've always fought with. So coming into the craft is just so opening and so freeing for me, because it's like, you can be you, whether it's the masculine side of you or the feminine side of you. It's okay.
Main thing to take away from today's episode as a listener, in my opinion, is whatever vocab you choose to use for yourself, defining witchcraft is generally near impossible. Generically, excuse me.
Both.
Yeah. So like, you're not going to be able to get, so even though our definitions were kind of similar and we were saying things like, oh, same, ditto, right? They're all just like a little bit different, which is why it's difficult to pin down what specifically it is. What's more important is how you feel specifically about what you do, your confidence level, and your own authority.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a takeaway that I get. You can't necessarily define witchcraft based on the word alone, because it has been used so negatively for so long, or so fantastically for so long, stories and things like that. But it really does. It comes down to are you making your life better? Are you making your life what you want it to be? And having the intention and having that drive and having that strength to put it out into the world and want the best back.
Both of those things are really good things. I observed one other takeaway for people would just be that this was a really good example about how we all have a different approach. We all have different background. We all have different opinions about what the definition even is, right? To some level. And they're all correct. And that's, I think, a huge takeaway. This space is the space for everybody. And you can make it what you need it to be. That's what the intended tool of magic is. You get to transform it into how to make it serve you. You can't let the language around it stop you from having the healing, having the growth, having the dreams come true. While we all maybe call it different things, we're all able to utilize it. And that's really a big deal too.
And have conversation.
Yeah. Yes. Healthy, respectful conversation where we listen to each other and like maybe even grow. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We learn new things.
I know.
I love it.
We're gonna have to think about stuff.
So next episode, we'll be joined by Heidi again.
Yay.
As our beginner series continues, where we'll be talking about paths of witchcraft and breaking the rules of these paths of witchcraft.
Heidi, what path are you on and what branches are you breaking
down? Heidi, is there anything else you'd like to say about Wise Wolfcraft?
Yeah, absolutely. So Wise Wolfcraft, if you want to reach me to schedule appointments, set up a personal party where I can come to your house, read tarot for you and your friends, teach a class about how to create a unique sigil or your own personal spellcraft, reach me on Instagram, please. I am there all the time. I would love to be doing work. I also just I have some fairs coming up. I'm going to be at Alchemy Fair this weekend. Oh, this probably won't release in time for that. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay. Well, I'm going to Alchemy Fair. Not that you'll hear about it. I'm going to be at the end of the month. I'll be at a thing called Beltane, and then I teach classes locally in Marysville. So lots of exciting stuff going on. I'd love to chat with you about making your life what you'd like it to be.
Check Heidi out on Instagram at Wise Wolfcraft. We're based in Washington. I don't know that we've said that yet this episode. We're in the Pacific Northwest.
I dropped Marysville. There's like 900 Marysvilles in America.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Marysville, Washington.
Yeah. It's the greater Seattle area. And yes,
the greatest Seattle area.
Personally know Sasquatch.
But Heidi puts all of her events on her Instagram. I'm following her, and I think that you should too, because her content is awesome and sometimes it's funny.
I
Oh,
also follow Jupiter's Omens,
Oh,
which
stop.
has wonderful content. They're always posting different things you can do at home for your own personal craft.
And how to
Appreciate that.
incorporate your fur babies into your
And
practice.
little hints and tips for how to get affordable craft supplies.
Well, thank you for joining us on A Dark Path. Please follow us on TikTok and Instagram at A Dark Path Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you as we continue our journey.
Great.
See you.
Yay!
Hopefully that's enough good stuff.
It should be. It is now that our time together must come to an end. Thank you for joining us on this journey, a dark path come to a bend. Find us here bi-monthly on your favorite place to stream, and follow us on social media for news in between. A dark path is there, winding and waiting ever. May you craft peace, knowledge, and alignment, so shall it be, or something better.